The more and more I go through life, I realize that I'm just experiencing the same type of energy to learn the same lesson in a different way. Like, it'll jump through friendships and work situations to situationships, relationships, and it'll jump from like extreme, like shouting at you, like it's showing in the whole evidence, the whole foundation of whatever this initial experience is. Usually after you have the initial trauma or the initial programming of whatever is putting you on this journey of learning this lesson. I hope I'm making sense. I'm in a space where I was just involved with a man again that is a great man that would do anything in his power for me, genuinely cared for me, that was dependent, that was just good. Another lesson that I'm learning is that I have a tendency to, because I'm really absorbent of people, like empathic or whatever you want to call it, I just melt into situations. Like I feel it, and depending on how open I am to it, I feel it on an extreme level to the point where I lose track of what is of my best interest. Like I find benefits and experiences that I know are not going to fulfill me completely. And I feel like that really comes down to just not having proper boundaries. Like for a long time, I didn't understand the concept of boundaries. I was just like flowy, go with the flow. Whatever's going to happen is going to happen. And I feel like a part of that is because I know that I'm protected, like on higher levels, to where like I'll be rerouted out of situations or certain timelines that could potentially happen because of my allowance to things, and it just don't be going, you know? But I feel like because of that, I've gotten to a point where I am applying boundaries, and I am being more intentional with like my reality, basically. I don't know where I was going with that, but I feel like one of the ultimate lessons of being here, or just being in general, is to learn the importance of choosing love for self first, always. And within that, there's a balance, because it's you, the ego, whatever, that you are, learning to ultimately choose first within the realms of what you deem righteous. Also have this other aspect of like the reality that everyone that you are perceiving, everyone who is entangled into your life somehow, some way, is all a reflection of you, whether that be indirect or direct. Direct reflection being like, you think somebody is a B word, and so are you. Like, y'all act the exact same. Maybe you don't see it, but or it's indirect, like based upon your beliefs and your feelings and like programs that have been projected on you. And just, with being a human being, typically people who exist in this realm have experienced trauma. That's what it really comes down to. Anyway, we all have karma. We all have cycles. I think, in my personal perception, that karma is just cycles. What goes around comes around. It's gonna go all around until until it closes out. But everything is a pattern. Whether it's a good loop or a bad loop, everything is looping. Everything is in rhythm. Everything is bouncing back and forth, up and down, round and round, side to side. Okay, so I feel like we as the human beings project negative or positive energy on top of these cycles, aka karma. But yeah, like if you're here, you like, yeah, there's something that you need to learn. Even if you came here to teach people from the 15th dimension and you are completely above this place and aware and blah blah blah, maybe you know you got your lesson is to come speak among people with lower vibrationals than you. You know, that could be your karmic loop, or I don't know. Everything is in rhythm. That's all I'm saying. So with that being said, anyway, I feel like my cycle started just seeing like negative examples or lower vibrational energies of love within my home, within peers, and eventually within myself. And that kind of traveled down into me being in situations where it was mostly bad, but I could find something good in it. And that was because at the time, during that part of my time, that was one of my coping mechanisms of just getting through. It's like, okay, I got to deal with this BS, but let me find something good in it, beneficial for me in it. So it's not like, you know, kind of how we go to work and the only real benefit is we get some money. We got to deal with all this, you know what I'm saying? So, yeah, cycles, looping, and a patterns. Yeah, I don't know. I just been coming to a lot of realizations. And you know, if you ever go back to a situation, try not to be hard on yourself or feel down about it or going back to a certain energy, because like I said, these lessons, I don't think it's just, you know, having to pertain to love. This is like pertaining to any lesson usually. Or at least in my own personal experience, let me speak for myself, where cycles or lessons that need to be learned, karma, go into cycles of putting me in situations where it's right in front of my face and then it gets farther and further away in some way, whether that be like I was saying, it was mostly bad. I could see some good in it. And then it kind of moved into eventually, as I'm learning and I'm choosing and I'm making decisions, going left or right, you know what I mean? And I get to a point where it's mostly good, but there's some bad stuff going on. Like, you know, like for example, maybe with one of my exes, like he was texting other women. He never cheated, but he was texting other women. But like everything else was like content. Like it was okay. Like it was nothing bad was happening really. You know, like that sort of energy. Like there's something that is kind of a big factor, but it's not that bad because of the good in the situation or what you perceive to be good, because sometimes that happens too, where really ain't nothing good in it. You just creating stuff, making up stuff, fantasizing about, you know, just trying to keep it together, because you know sometimes you don't be ready to let go yet. And if I didn't complete that last thought of having grace with yourself for going back to situations, because yeah, I think I did, but I feel like I be rambling. I be trying to keep up with my own self. But yeah, like now in this situation, it's like everything would be going good between me and my ex, and I would just get like this off feeling, like all of a sudden I don't really want to do anything. Like all of a sudden, like I'm just like, I don't know, something is off, but like nothing is happening. Like he's not doing anything wrong. Like there's, you know what I mean? But yeah, if I didn't say, I feel like those nudges or that off feeling is intuition. And I feel like there comes some point in the journey where the experience is no longer screaming for you to get out. It's kind of like for a short while or a long while, depending on your journey or in between, you know, it's like happening and it's bad, but you don't know that it's really that bad because of trauma that you experienced, and, you know, or some part of you that was created or that you just are that makes it acceptable for this kind of behavior, like whatever it may be, whatever is in your personalized karma package, because we all got different ones. Some resonate, some don't. Okay, where's I even going with that? It gets to a point where it's no longer screaming at you. It's just kind of like lightly tapping at you. Like it's coming through in ways where there's no proof behind it, where there's no tangible anything that you can grasp onto to make your intuition be acceptable. It gets to that, or at least that's where I'm at. And so, like, with that being said, this has been the most challenging one because it's like, I got a good man. You know, he wants to do this, this, and that. We can do this, this, and that, da, 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 da. But something in me is like, no. Like, and really, I think it comes down to, like, me knowing and just maybe not wanting to accept before that this was never my initial plan. Like, before we start interacting, it was about me. I wanted to be single. I didn't want to, like, put a title on anything. And I also knew, like, I was working on myself and building my stuff up. So it's like, if you're not coming in my life and, like, uplifting that and in a substantial way, you know what I mean? It's like, what's the point, really? Like, and no shade, but you know, I'm just saying, you know, because you have to think about it when you're dealing with someone, especially with, like, if you know your energy is special, and you should know your energy is special. Like, everybody should know that, unless you're an NPC or something. I don't know. But with that being said, like, my presence is valuable, and I feel like I offer a lot. I know a lot. I'm open to a lot. You know what I mean? So it's like, I know my value. And it's like, if I'm spending time and energy, even if it's like good time and energy, like we're having a good time or whatever, you know, that's taken away from other stuff that I could be doing. And, oh, excuse me. I also just feel like, you know, I want a traditional man, a man that can provide and protect, like, because, you know, that's how I feel. And I don't feel like I'm wrong, but there was a part of me that felt ashamed for having those expectations for this person, or not even having the expectations, because it's something that's in the process. And I know he would help me if, like, I ask, or he just will in certain ways on his own. But I know of, like, all the responsibilities that he has. And it's not really a necessity. You get what I'm saying? It's not really like, oh, I really need his help. It's just like, I just feel like, you know, you should. Like, I want you to be in a position where you can, because, you know, like, again, what's the point? Like, you know, because otherwise, because honestly, relationships are not, like, that's not on my priority list. Like, I really don't care about that. Like, I care about connection more than anything. And also, like, I just be chilling. I don't know. So it's like, if I'm going to move in a certain way where I'm doing something, I feel like, but then too, we gonna be here all day if I keep doing this. But I just want to say real quick, I feel like you got to be careful of, or I'm learning to be careful of the cycles where, oh no, I just forgot. But anyway, this nudge kept happening and I kept overcomplicating it. I kept, like, overthinking it. Like, what is this? Is this like commitment issues? Like, you know, there's still stuff I need to let go of that's not allowing me to be receptive of this. Like, cause I don't really be wanting relationships for real, but sometimes I fantasize about it. Like, I be in la la world anyway. So sometimes, like, especially if I'm feeling you, I love you, whatever, it's like, oh, that's my man, we're gonna be married. Like, but I don't even want to get married. Like, it's the crazy thing. Oh, I was saying the cycle of, like, I learned I have a cycle of staying in situations or wanting to be in situations because the person is willing to provide me some sort of benefit. But I realized too with that, like, when you stay in situations where you can benefit, you're typically going to get burnt out because you don't want to be there. Like there's something deep down in you that does not want to be there. And that's why you need a particular something, or you feel like you need a particular something from someone in order to feel fulfilled. So I just came to the realization that I have been holding on to this connection because I allowed myself to be receptive to what this man wanted with me because of my love for him, not remembering my own focus and my own journey and what I really did want. And because of that, I have to make a decision. Like, is it going to be me or this thing? Because I know if I stay in this thing with this man, I can easily, put myself back in a position where I'm now receptive to moving forward into something that deep down I really don't want to do. Like, there's a big part of me that does, but there's a deeper part of me that's like, no, you need to be focused in doing something else. And that's just that. And it almost hits harder when nothing bad has really happened, and the reason you're splitting up with someone is simply because you're out of alignment in some way, or something that seems so small. It matters, but it's so small. It's like, dang, it almost leaves room for wonder of like, if it could work out, if this happened or that happened or whatever happened. But really, it's just not supposed to. We have to, I have to, whatever. You too, maybe, I don't know. Get to a point where you just learn to accept what is. Like, it can really be so simple. It doesn't have to be complicated. And also, something I learned is, typically when I'm confused and overthinking something, it's because it's just not meant. I think it's just an indication of like, yeah, this is not for you. It's okay sometimes if you have to let go of things that feel good but just aren't meant for you. Something is trying to tell you it's not meant for you, regardless of it being good, and being willing to let it go. But y'all keep growing through y'all cycles. Keep pushing through. Don't feel down when you feel like you're meeting the same lesson again and again. Because usually, whether it's with the same person within the same experience or completely different situation, environment, person, but it's the same energy in some way, it's leveling up within that, within the pattern, within the loop. Okay, so just be easy, be aware, be willing to be honest with yourself about things, be willing to choose you always, because you really the only person that matter. Because how do we know we're not imaginations? Everybody and everything that we are experiencing, especially with knowing the way we see is receiving light signals, whether it be artificial or real, aka auras or whatever, and being artificial light bulb or whatever, whether it be whatever kind of light signal, your brain is receiving that and then projecting a reality in which you can sense things, and through sensing things you create more of the illusion of whatever this is. So how do you really know?